There's nothing worse than planning a lesson and then having the kids be like totally bored while they're doing it. So how do we get them excited? How do we plan things so that the kids will actually like what we're doing, or at least buy in to a certain extent, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. How do you create lessons that the kids will actually get excited about? Student-centered activities. You've heard that term maybe, student-centered activities, and you think, well, I mean, I have 500 students or 800 students. I was at one school, I had 850 students. True story, 850 students. There is no way in the world that I'm going to know, okay, that kid likes soccer and that kid likes turtles and this kid likes ballet and that kid, it's too hard, right? So you find out some general things about the kids in your getting to know you activities, or you give them some choice things where they get to write down about what they like, or what they're going to sing about, what they're going to be for Halloween, or, my family does blah, blah, blah when we go on vacation. So you can know a few things about them. In general, then, you can choose songs, choose rhythm activities, choose poems that clue into a little bit about what they're excited about. Some places to find those things are online, of course. Teachers Pay Teachers has a lot of good stuff. Music K8 and Activate are two places where you can go for kind of fun songs that clue into what kids generally like. Music Play Online is an online space where you can do the same thing. They have lots of fun activities. Although it's based in Canada, a lot of their stuff really is good for the US as well. So those are some fun places to look for things. You can also check with your librarian for things like poems. When I do my rhythm unit, I like to find silly poems that they're going to say over and over again, make it really silly. So bonefish, bluebird, sheep and flea, chickadee, doodlebug, robins in a tree. Like that's like what are we talking about? And it's very curious to them, so they get excited about it, right? What are we doing? So for example, my second graders do a poem called Grandma Grunts. It's actually a little song. And then they do Grandma Grunts and Grandpa's Whiskers. And we tend to do it around Thanksgiving time, because we're going to see our family. A lot of times we see our family at Thanksgiving. So we do these silly songs about Grandma and Grandpa. And Grandma Grunt said a curious thing. Boys may whistle, but girls must sing. So this silly, silly song, all of a sudden the girls are like, wait, what? I can't say. I'm like, well, how would you respond to that? How would you politely tell Grandma and Grandpa that you have a different idea? And so we brainstorm some ideas, and now they've bought into it. Grandpa's Whiskers, she eats them like shredded wheat, and we want to give him some advice. And a lot of times they say, shave your whiskers, or don't sleep with Grandpa, or different things like that. And again, the kids are coming up with the ideas. And so then that becomes like the B section of your song. So you do a poem, and then you do this B section where you give them some advice, and then you do the A section again. Or those become ostinato patterns, where you say the ostinato and then you do the playing the ostinato. And so there's different ways of you can do it. I've actually included that in a performance before, and it's really, really cute. There's a poem I do with the older kids from our rhythm, where if at first you don't succeed, try again. It's the poem that comes from. And so again, they get to see, oh, there's a pattern. Every time it says try again, the rhythm is the same, and it becomes more accessible for them, even if they haven't had a lot of music training and they come in our class and they, don't know a lot of stuff, but they can figure that out. And so if you give them that, they're like, oh, this is the same one. And so they're kind of discovering it. That's another thing that you can do to kind of hook them into whatever you're doing, is to create some curiosity about whatever it is that you're doing. So what is that rhythm? Is there another place in this poem that sounds kind of the same as that feels sort of the same or sounds the same, so you can have them go on discovery journeys into new music. That's a way to keep them curious about what it is that you're doing. So doing silly poems, silly songs, and getting them curious is pretty fun. One really great thing that came out of COVID is all of the body percussion and boom whackers and rhythm play-alongs and sing-alongs that we now have available to us on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for creating a whole new world of things for us to use in the classroom. I love to do these as a sponge activity when the kids first come into the classroom, because this year is the first year in a really long time. I have no time at all between any of my classes. And sometimes you just need to take a breath, or you need to reset something, or you need to put something away, or you need to gather up the papers that the kids in the last class put in your Turn-It-In bin. And you're like, I just need a moment. And the kids are absolutely involved and enthralled and so into whatever it is that's on the screen that you're like, okay, I have 3 minutes that I can do something. This is also super fun because they love video games, and these play-alongs are like a video game, especially the boom whacker ones where it comes down from the top and then they play when it hits the bottom. So they are very used to this kind of thing when they play their video games, and then this is kind of like a video game, and you're sneaking in the learning. Oh my gosh, and now I know how to read half notes, and now I know how to read rests, and now I know how to read so and do, right? Whatever it is, because you've snuck it in. Do consider this, especially with the rhythm play-alongs. Good quality play-alongs have an introduction. There's a few that I found that have the concept that I want the kids to know, maybe a syncopated concept or a dotted quarter note concept or something like that. I want that to be in the one that I choose for them, but there's no introduction. And that annoys me because there should be an introduction. Eventually, I will learn how to do these for myself. I have not walked down that road yet. You've probably figured that out and done it in college. I don't know. I'm older than you are. They need to have an introduction, and however they're reading the rhythm needs to be appropriate for their age. What does that mean? The youngest of our students start reading music with iconic notation. Having them read the words so that they understand the sounds is a great place to start with rhythm reading. So I have flower bee, right? So I have a picture of a flower, and then I have a picture of a bee, and then I have a picture of a flower, and I have a picture of a bee. And now we're learning, oh, there's one sound here and two sounds there, and no sounds here when there's nothing, right? So they're looking at little pictures of things instead of the actual notation. Then you transition into the notation. Now, I'm going to have some people up in arms about this because they're like, no, just teach them the notation from the beginning. Got it. But sometimes you need a bridge. You're being responsive to the children. You need a little bridge. So now we're in first grade and we know what this looks like, a quarter note or a do or a ta or a whatever it is that you call it. And then this is a do-day or a TT or a toddy or whatever it is you call it. Again, there are lots of systems out there, however you teach it. So now we know the actual note values. Well, great. Look for a play along that has those particular note values. Let's say that you're wanting to do pitch things that are more pitched. Well, there are lots and lots of different places you can go for that. But when you go into YouTube and you search it, search for the concept, because the people who have created this, who know that you're in the classroom, they have put that information in the description. And when you search for it, you should be able to find it. I'm going to leave in the description a list of some of the YouTube channels that I absolutely love and go to over and over again for their very high quality stuff. The last suggestion I have for you is not going to be a surprise if you have followed me at all or you know me personally, because I am central right here. Activity centers. Yes, indeed. I don't know any other way to really clue into what kids like more than centers. Because in your center, you can actually create choice within that center, and then the kids get to do kind of what they want in there, but they're also practicing what you want them to practice. So let's say that you have a rhythm center again, and you have different sets of cards. One set of cards are sports words or sports pictures or sports theme. Another set is ballet and dance and creative arts, and another one is gardening, and another one is travel. And you have all these different cards that have different themes to them, and you don't really care which one they pick. You just want them to practice their rhythms, right? So you can either create them yourself or look on Teachers Pay Teachers or Etsy and look for some of these resources that have different themes. And then the kids have choice. So you create them, you put them in bags or some kind of container by themselves, and then the kids, when they get to that center, they get to choose the ones that they like. Worksheets are the same way. One kind of worksheet I have is rhythm of a million different things. Rhythm of Harry Potter, rhythm of skiing, rhythm of nature. I don't know. There's all kinds of different ones. And again, I don't care which ones they do. I want them to decode the words. I'm clear that that's the skill. I want them to practice. I want them to decode the words. Movement centers are fantastic because you can give them a box of all kinds of different movements, all kinds of different body percussion, all kinds of different choices, and you give them a playlist on your iPad or whatever it is that's sitting there. They choose a short snippet of music, and then they have to come up with some kind of movement activity that goes with it. Choice. Lots of choice. Centers give kids all kinds of different opportunities to interact with each other, to talk, to make choices, to be more autonomous about their learning. So this is one of my favorite ways to personalize the learning for each kid. Anywhere you can put choice in is a good thing. That is a great way to get kids to buy in. Even when you're doing those play along videos, like I mentioned earlier, give them 2 different ones or 5 different ones even to choose from. And then they get to figure out which ones they like. And maybe you say, we're going to do 2 different ones. You guys pick which one we're going to do first. As you feel more comfortable with your content in your lessons, you could even give kids choice about which part of the lesson they want to do first. So I tend to put get my lessons in a couple of different slots. And when they first come in, I say, today we're going to play the Orff instruments, we're going to play a recorder, and we're going to sing a new song. Which would you like to do first? You know how much time you're going to allot to each of those things. And so it may not matter to you which one they do first, unless you're singing a song that then goes to the instruments, or you're playing a recorder song that then becomes movement active. Like if you have to have it in a certain order to make sense in the concept flow, yeah, do it in that order. But sometimes you just know, oh, we're practicing this song that we've been practicing for a while, and I want to give you 15 minutes on your recorders to work on whatever the next song you're working on. You can build your lessons in such a way that you can have a little bit of flexibility. And again, giving kids choice is something that they really appreciate and buy into. And I find that they are way more responsive and way more involved and excited about what we're doing when it's their choice to do it. Thanks for watching. I hope this video about using student-centered activities has been helpful. Please like and subscribe so you know when the new videos come out, and consider sharing it with a friend or a colleague. Remember to check the description for resources mentioned in the video, and also my free guide, Going from Surviving to Thriving in Your First Year of Teaching. Have a great week teaching, and I'll see you next time.